Hello YouTube. In this video I want to share with you a few tips and mentalities to help you with lower back pain. This video is not going to be focused on a certain point or a certain technique. These videos will come later, but for now I have a subscriber who is dealing with lower back pain and I want to help him. And it might also help you. So the first thing you need to understand about lower back pain is that it is usually the result of poor form. What I mean by poor form is you are performing certain lifts in a manner that puts too much stress on your lumbar spine and on your SI joint. And usually the common culprits is deadlift, rows and squats. And what causes the pain is a rounding of the lumbar spine that causes shear force on it, which in turn creates inflammation of the tissue and hurts. Most of the time, that pain is going to be felt the next morning when you wake up. Why? Because when you exercise, the muscles and the tissues are full of blood and they're irrigated. But when you go back to bed, the blood goes into your organs during the night, and therefore the blood leaves the muscles and the irritation is not contained anymore and the pain arises. It's also the reason why if you have tendonitis and you work out, it tends to hurt less if the tendonitis is not critical, but then when you wake up the next morning and the blood is gone from around the joint, it hurts that much more. So my advice is focus on form. Stop focusing on the weight on the bar. If you're hurt, if you feel pain, it's your body telling you, hey buddy, things are not right here. Please give me a break. So focus on form, lower the weight. Who cares? What you should be focused on right now is to have a session where when you wake up the next morning, you're not feeling hurt. Lowering the weight is also going to allow you to focus on form. If you don't know what good form is, you can check out videos or you can look at my videos. I think my form is pretty pristine. What you want with lower body lifts is to maintain a neutral spine. What is a neutral spine? This is not a neutral spine. This is a vertical torso. A neutral spine is usually this, all right? So there's a degree of angle in your spine, but it's straight, all right? A neutral spine can also be this. This is a neutral spine. If you're doing Pendlay rows, if you look at my Pendlay rows videos, my torso is parallel to the floor, but it's neutral, all right? The reason why people think about a vertical torso when they think about the neutral spine is because it is much tougher to have a rounding of the spine if the spine is straight. It's still possible, you will see people do that. And if you watch my video about the fishing rope syndrome, you will know that it's possible. But the more angle there is, the more potential there is for bend. So you have to focus on that. Before you do any pull or any squat, you need to bring your shoulders back and in. You need to take a deep breath of air and brace your core, and you need to flex the upper back. Don't flex the lower back, don't do this, all right? You want the upper back to stay neutral. It's going to remain in position and it shouldn't change throughout the movement. If you do rows and every time you go down with the weight, your back does this, then that's where the pain is coming from. Same for squats. That's called the good morning squat. When you go down and your back does this and then you go up and you uncurl the back, it's a bad thing, it's bad form. Same for the deadlift. When you pull from the floor, if the second you start pulling your back rounds, it's a bad thing. Lower the weight, focus on form. I will be making videos about good form. If you have a specific lift where you want to know the form, let me know in the comments. But honestly, the resources are out there in YouTube Fitness. So that's going to be your main fix. Second fix, start working your lower back. The idea that only doing deadlift is enough for the lower back is incorrect. Just like the core, which the lower back is part of, you need to isolate it. The best way to isolate the lower back, in my opinion, is back hyperextension. Build up your back hyperextension. Do it with body weight, then with plates, then with dumbbells, and then do it with barbells. It's going to make your lower back untouchable and bulletproof. because it's going to isolate the function of the flexion of the lower back. It's going to work the hamstrings and the glutes, and it's going to allow you to stress the muscles of the lower back without stressing the spine. So that's a good exercise. You also have reverse hypers. If your gym has a reverse hyper, that's a good exercise to do. Another thing you can do is core exercises. So work your abs more. All right. Don't do crunches, because crunches compromise your lower back because you keep rounding at the top. So do leg raises on the floor from a bar, and always focus on keeping a neutral spine when you do that. When you do leg raises, don't let your body curl up. Your body has to remain straight. It's funny because every time I try and show back form, my back feels strange because I'm so used to always being straight. And this is what you should strive towards too. Point number 3, posture during everyday life. When you're sitting, straight, all right? When you're walking, head straight, straight spine. You don't want to be slouched because it's going to damage your lower back in the long run. If you're in an office chair, a tip I have is take a pillow, put it in your lower back. That way it creates curvature and you have to stay straight. You can't round.